Hey everybody, JP from Henry Amps here with my good friend Matt Knapp.
What's up?
Matt is not only an excellent guitarist, but one of our first customers.
The second part's definitely true. Yes.
Matt has Henry number 3 at home.
Yeah.
And he's going to be taking this guy home to join him later.
Mm-hmm.
This is a custom build that Matt commissioned for me a couple months ago. And we're really so happy with it that it's going to be a full-fledged product listed on our website soon called the SRT Plus. And why don't you tell them how you came about it in the first place?
So shout out to the Doug and Pat Show. Hey guys, thank you for making wonderful videos about PAF repro pickups and other vintage Gibson guitars and 335s. And for using your wonderful AC10 SRT on a bunch of those videos, because it sounds amazing. Or I should say the 3 that you have sound amazing. You can send me one if 3 is too many for you. But that amp, it just sounds incredible with everything that the Doug and Pat Show put through it, everything they do with it. I decided that I had to have one, I wanted to find one, but they're pretty rare. They're hard to get a hold of. And I'm friends with an amp builder here, and he's already built me a beautiful little tweed combo. So I kind of put JP on the scent here, and here we have it, the SRT Plus, and this is my custom build model here, which is kind of how JP does all of his amps. Pretty much all like custom jobs, right?
Yeah, I have a few styles that I sort of go for on my own just to keep some stock around. But anything you're interested in can be done in almost any combination out there.
Yeah.
In terms of the look, Matt went with the blue steel vibe.
Yes. I like blue. Can you tell?
But again, you know, pretty much anything available, Tolex-wise or speaker-wise, or, you know, talk to me, email me, jp@henryamps.com. I'm always happy to hear from people.
Yeah, so the AC10 SRT, EL84 amp, but nothing like the other AC amps out there.
No, really unique for Vox. After tracking down the original schematic, which was a little tricky to find an accurate one, and also redrawing it because they drew them. I don't know if Dick Denny did it on purpose back then.
Just to spite you.
Yeah, probably. I had to really sit down and trace that thing out. It was like a treasure map. And found some things. You know, there's some booby traps in that original schematic.
Nice.
There were a couple things I came across and said, this can't possibly work. This can't be right. So I don't know if they corrected them and left them in the schematic intentionally, or if it was just somebody's mistake that day. Who knows? But anyhow, redrew the schematic, discovered that the preamp and tremolo of this fine amp were a little more American influenced than anything that I had seen in a Vox amp before. Again, I'm no expert on Vox, but the fact that it has AC10 in the title is really deceiving because, yeah, like you said, EL84s are pretty much the only thing it has in common with the rest of the product line from that era, circa 64, 65. So,
yeah, and the Super Reverb Twin was Vox's designation for this amp. Super was because it was
head and cabinet. Yep.
Reverb was because it had reverb.
A lousy reverb.
That's pretty obvious. And then Twin because it originally came with 2 speakers, right?
Yeah, well, 210 cabinet. Yeah. So that was sort of Vox's way of designating things, and also maybe a bit of a ripoff on some other amplifier lines that also use the words Super, Reverb, and Twin in them.
Maybe ones with an American influence that could have influenced this very special design from Vox.
But the other, actually, more so than a Fender influence, there's a very strong Ampeg influence in this amp, particularly the Ampeg Jet combos from the early 60s. There's a lot of the tone control and the tremolo circuit, very, very similar to what Ampeg was doing at the time. So you gotta wonder if Vox was trying to reach across the pond and try something different. They didn't make many of them, so I guess it wasn't very popular at the time. I don't know, maybe it was the head-in cabinet, who knows?
Everybody was just buying Super Beetles and AC30s, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, they're great. I mean, Vox had a thing going, and I guess they were just experimenting, trying different things.
So you've added your your preamp bias switch, which is really versatile and nice.
Yeah, preamp bias switch. It's a 3-way toggle that gives you the original sound, which is actually pretty gainy for a 1965 amplifier. It's kind of like no more gainy than a Tweed Deluxe, but it does start to break up pretty early, especially with a hot guitar. So the other two options, one of them is a low-cut version of that, which works great with neck humbuckers, or anytime you want to crank up the amp and keep it from getting too muddy, the low-cut works. And then the third option is a lower gain, one that happens to work really well with pedals. So if you're someone who likes to use overdrive, fuzz pedals, and keep the amp relatively clean, you'd probably want to live in that option.
I don't know anybody these days that likes pedals.
Nah.
Nobody.
No one at all.
No one.
Nobody just turns up an amp and uses this anymore. I mean, honestly. Come on, there's JD Simo, there's Derek Trucks, there's sometimes Joe Bonamassa, and
none of those guys know what they're doing. They should have more pedals, I think. I mean, based on what I see on Instagram. No shade to Instagram. But so we got volume and tone, and then the tremolo circuit, which is similar to the original SRT.
Yeah, we didn't mess with that. We kept that original.
It sounds great.
It's a limited circuit in terms of the speed. It's got tons of depth if you want it. But it's very musical, and that's why I didn't want to mess with it. You know, there are definitely tremolos out there that have a wider range to them, but this just works. You can leave it on subtly, and you kind of forget it's there, and it just adds a little something extra to your playing.
Yeah, it's a nice shimmer. I wanted to use it for like pretty much every demo that we recorded today, and I had to kind of think, all right, maybe not on this one, so we can hear what the amp sounds without it. But it's easy to get a really great subtle trem setting right away, and it's foot switchable, which is awesome. What's also foot switchable is this reverb, which is definitely an improvement on the original SRT design.
Yeah, the original reverb, it's confusing, very confusing. They used a phono cartridge because apparently Vox didn't want to spend the licensing money to use the same reverb tank that Fender and Ampeg were using. I believe they were Hammond tanks back then. They didn't want to spend that extra money, so they used a really cheap single spring and a phono cartridge to get in and out of it. And most of them are broken, the ones that still exist. That is. Most of them don't work anymore, and the ones that do really don't sound good. So we kind of thought, well, what if we can get a Fender-style reverb in there? And I'm a big fan of the Revisit reverb tanks. Really fantastic. They sound a lot like the old USA-made Accutronics tanks, which now are made in South Korea and do not sound the same. So got a 3-spring medium decay reverb tank in there, and also a dwell and a mix control. And the dwell control is really cool because if you're running the volume of the amp really loud, you can keep it from hitting the reverb too hard by backing down the dwell. Or you can crank up the dwell and really slam the reverb tank. So you sort of get two types of effects. You could do the spring thing with it, or you could do the more subtle thing. And then the reverb mix control is you know, like you've seen on a million other amps.
Yeah, and it sounds really great. I really, really like how it sounds, especially with the dwell kind of cranked up. You get that reverb. You hit something kind of staccato, or you just like smack a chord and just listen to the reverb kind of go. It's really nice. And for my custom here, I went with a single 12. This is a Weber Silver Bell.
Yes.
Right? I generally like 10s. I think they have a nice magical mid-range thing happening that stays out of the way of other instruments. But for this amp, with the gain and everything else that was going on, and after listening to some samples, I thought that the 12 was going to kind of get the sound that I wanted for this.
Yeah.
And you are working on a 210 version of this amp that's going to have a pretty diamond grill cloth and a little bit more like the typical Vox design. Right?
Yep. In fact, there should be a picture of that flashing right in front of you right now. And yes, that's going to be a 2x10 prototype. It's going to use a Weber Silver Bell as well as a Blue Dog 10-inch Alnico. And I believe it's going to have the upper mids are going to be a bit more complex with that, but a little trimmer in the low end. It's something a little closer to what I think Vox may have been going for with the original. We'll know because we're going to send it to Doug and Pat to compare it to their original amps. So that's going to be a lot of fun because they have the original silver G12, they have the original 2x10 cabinet, and they've got some Weber silver bells, both Alnico and ceramic. So it's going to be really fun to see what they think of our circuit compared to the originals. And I think if you're more of a rhythm player or stay more on the clean side of things, the 210s might be the way to go. Whereas the 12-inch Alnico is really fantastic for single note lines and just, you know, big fat rock power chords, the way it should be. And Matt's going to demonstrate all of that for you right now.
I'm going to try to.